with vastly expanded combat options, bigger, more open maps, and many more abilities to play with, along with enough collectible stuff to fill a Corellian freighter. Star Wars Jedi Survivor is in many ways the Batman Arkham City to Fallen Order's Arkham Asylum. Much like those Arkham games did for Batman, nothing else convincingly captures the power fantasy of playing as a Force user quite as well as this.
Once a rat, always a rat.
There's no reason not to go back and play Fallen Order before starting Survivor if you haven't. I greatly appreciate that the sequel starts you out with most of the powers and upgrades that Cal had already acquired. There's no corny amnesia or, oh no, my Force powers are gone gimmick to make you relearn how to double jump or use Force push. This means we're already off to an exciting running start when things kick off with a brief caper on Imperial Coruscant. You're quickly thrown right back into force-pushing stormtroopers off ledges and chaining other movement tricks like wall running, climbing, swinging, and sliding down ramps. And that's just the beginning. The Spider-Man-style grapple is introduced before you leave the planet, and the unlocks keep coming from there at a rewarding pace. When you get the mid-air dash ability to pair with your double jump, things really take off. You can cover such crazy distances without touching the ground, changing directions twice to reach things around corners. Respawn makes excellent use of this ability and further flexes those Titanfall muscles. Lightsabers are, of course, the stars of the war, and Survivor kicks up the excellent dueling from Fallen Order by several notches with 5 different fighting stances that are all brilliantly animated to create some of the flashiest and fiercest Star Wars melee battles I've ever seen. You don't even have to be all that good at nailing the timing of strikes, parries, and dodges for fights that still look spectacular and smooth. Cal's lightsaber has many customizable cosmetic parts, and all the available blade colors are unlocked shortly after the start, so you can make Cal more your own from the very beginning. This also goes for his blaster and his range of clothing, which is far more extensive this time around, as well as his new haircut and beard options. You can only equip 2 lightsaber stances at a time, which gives your Cal another dose of personality. After dabbling in the single, double-bladed, and dual-wielding stances that carry over, I settled on the 2 new ones. The Kylo Ren-inspired crossguard style is like a slow and heavy broadsword that's great for hammering a stunned target into the floor, while the blaster style lets you dispatch small enemies without having to close the gap. They pair nicely with the expanded set of force powers that allow you to do things like this. You can, of course, swap out your stances at any meditation circle, but each stance has its own skill tree, so you're encouraged to specialize. The story does what it needs to do well, getting you from one exciting action scene to the next. Cal finds himself in a race to locate what's effectively a map to a lost treasure planet. This leads to plenty of excuses to visit old abandoned puzzle chambers, which might take you 20 hours or 30 depending on how long you spend taking a detour to get eaten by a rancor and other optional bosses. For me, it was in the 30s. My main issue with the story is that nearly every big twist is foreshadowed so heavily that it was only ever a matter of when a reveal would happen, not if. The identities of the main villains are a secret and shall remain unspoiled here, but they're pretty easy to see coming a light year away. In any case, at least they're written and acted with enough depth that they don't feel like retreads of anyone Cal has faced before. And neither is a 2-dimensional Sith Lord who has somehow returned. There's more to them than that, and Survivor successfully prioritizes character over plot for the most part. The cast I enjoyed so much in Fallen Order is back in full force. This time, actor Cameron Monaghan's Cal is not so easily outshined by the crew of the Mantis. His motivations are about more than simply fighting the Empire now. It's about whether he can live a life where he's something more than a resistance fighter. His decisions have more weight to them, making him a much more realized protagonist this time around. Naturally, BD-1 never left Cal's side, but the rest of the crew are all given very human reasons for their parting of ways after Fallen Order, and why they're coming back together now. aside from a large cast of colorful alien side characters. The other new member of the group is Bode, a rogue mercenary type who initially comes off somewhat blandly. However, as his backstory is fleshed out, he becomes a more interesting companion. That's all. Don't forget to like and subscribe to Discover One for more reviews from us.